Welcome back to the Nurse Mamas podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be going with dealing with survival mode and meal prepping when you're trying to just have a meal while your child is screaming in your ear and you need just 30 seconds to take a bite of food. And you have zero time to meal prep. You're way too tired. So, we're going to be going into what is going to actually be helpful during more of a survival season in this episode. So, meal prep is helpful. Like it's drained into us. You're told to have a freezer stock before you have your baby. Maybe you've run through that. Maybe you didn't have a chance to do it. Maybe you have no freezer space, so it just wasn't feasible. Um, and right now you're exhausted, touched out, and just trying to get through the day. So, this is not a failure. It's definitely survival mode. But it is for a season. This isn't going to last forever. But I do want to make sure that you don't have to take an entire Sunday to hire a babysitter or like drop your kid off at your parents' house if they live closer than mine, which is 300 miles away. Um, you don't need an entire Sunday. You don't need a color-coded meal plan. Um, if meal prep feels impossible to you right now and you can't even think about it, this episode is for you. So on Pinterest, you're going to find millions of ideas for meal prep. I do understand that. Um, but what I want you to get away from this episode is that the idea behind meal prepping, especially postpartum, is you're reducing the amount of decisions you're making. You're making food easier for you to have access to, and you're keeping yourself fed consistently so that you can take care of everyone else in your life. Because I know you, and I know you're putting yourself on the back burner. It's just the way that it is. Um, and as cliche as it sounds, it's that oxygen mask you have to put on your own before you can help other people because you can't help anyone if you are not fed. It doesn't work. So we're going for what's going to work in this moment. So these are ideas that require zero chopping, zero cooking, and zero thinking. I have tons of other ideas for when you do have more mental capacity for it. But for this, like for the purposes of where we're at right now, what I want you to think of for meal prep in this moment, some examples would be buying a veggie tray. It already has them all cut up, they're all washed. All you have to do is put it on your plate. That's it. Pre-washed greens, so like salad kits. I especially like the ones that have all the toppings already right there in this season. Throw some rotisserie chicken on it, and that's dinner. That works really well here. Frozen steam-in veggies. That works great. You don't have to worry about frozen veggies. They are picked at the peak of their season, basically. So they're picked when they're in season, frozen immediately. If there's any nutrient loss, it's very minute. So frozen veggies are a really great way to go. Even canned veggies, if that's what you can get a hold of and what feels doable right now, that is better than nothing. That's better than not having a vegetable at all. Something else that can help here is pre-cooked grains or microwave rice. We have done this so that either like if you are able to put some aside in the freezer, awesome, or they have them already made at the store most of the time these days. And then some other options that my favorite, but they work, would be protein shakes, protein bars. Those ones are great, or less like protein bars, but more like a kind bar, or I think it's like the barely naked bear. I don't remember what it's called, or like there's I'm blanking now. Oh, I should have written them down. Um, Just Elizabeth brand of bars. I can't remember if that's exactly right, but you can correct me if I'm wrong by sending me an email and say these are the names of those. I don't mind. That doesn't bother me. Um, I was talking about them earlier this week and I just out of my head. So convenience tools right now are a tool. It's not a shortcut that you have to feel guilty about. It's something that makes eating possible when you have zero energy and when you got maybe 4 hours of interrupted sleep. So, honestly, There's also some other shortcuts. Like, so we talked about the low effort wins, which are going to be the no chopping, no cooking, no thinking. Next, really looking at those convenience. So smart shortcuts from stores. Trader Joe's, if you have a Trader Joe's nearby, Aldi, or even like there's, I think it's called Factor meals. They're already made meals that have the protein, the starch, the veggie already in it for you. That works really well right now. Um, you can also do the frozen protein forward meals. So, like I saw at Costco recently, they had a stir fry where all you have to do is put it in the pan, warm it up, and it's done. You can get pre-marinated proteins. I've seen like spiced salmon. My parents had one from Costco. No, Sam's Club. They go to Sam's Club the other day with it. It was really, really good. Costco has some good options as well. You can get soups that are already made, and you buy a rustic loaf of bread or some sourdough from a neighbor, and you're there. And then that pre-chopped produce from Sam's Club, Costco, whichever. I usually lean toward Costco because that's where I have my membership. But doing the veggie trays there works great because then you don't have to worry about it. And you can buy these staples in bulk so you don't have to restock them very often. You're buying back your time and energy. It's not a failure to use some assistance from the stores at this point. That's what it's all about. That's why these foods exist. Um, excuse me, I need some water. And then the next thing I really want you to consider is delegating, outsourcing, and sharing the load. It is totally reasonable to ask for help. This could be a partner, having them make dinners for a while, having older kids, if you have them in the home, help with some of the simple meal prep. Have family drop off meals, ask some neighbors, see if your friends, when they say, hey, what can I do? Answer clearly and say, I need some stuff cut up at my house. Come prep me some meals or bring me something that I can throw in the crock pot. Question, like giving them direction because people want to help you in this time. They do, but they don't know how. So they're always saying, what can I do? Bring me something I can make for my family that's going to feed me. Basically, that's what you need to tell them is to bring you some food that they you can just throw in a crock pot. You don't have to think about it. Throw in the oven, like the casserole type drop-offs. This is what we're looking for, but see if they can add in the protein, the veggies, everything. So it's just one dish. You don't have to think about it. And then also, if possible, hiring support. If you need to, like, if your family's not close by, or if that's just out of their capacity right now, you can hire cleaning help, meal services, like we mentioned, Factor. Um, there's others as well. Or getting a postpartum doula, that can be really beneficial too. That's what they're here to support is moms while they are going through this huge life transition. So you're basically having them come in, make meals for you. They usually will do some light cleaning and let you sleep. They're looking for the things that maybe your family or friends don't notice, and they're getting it done without you having to ask. So that's a really good option too. If you have the money to do it, that's a wonderful way to make sure that you have some support during this time. And then just remember, you do not get extra credit for doing everything yourself. You can have some help here. It is not the end of the world if someone else makes food for your family. It is a helpful thing. We like it. We say thank you. This was great. And then again, you can even guide them if you need to say like, hey, remember the veggies because sometimes the casseroles especially don't have those in them. And then we should really reframe what counts as a meal. Your meal, well, it can be really helpful and feel great when it's hot. It does not need to be. It can be a snack plate where you have crackers, cheese, beef jerky, and fruit. Like that can be your meal. I am thinking adult Lunchables here. This works really well. In my early postpartum, I leaned a lot on like the frozen PB&J sandwiches because sometimes I didn't even have the energy to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So I kept those with me as like snacks that I had upstairs when I was nursing my son because I would be starving at 3 a.m. and there was no way I was going down in my kitchen. And then you don't need to have it plated necessarily. Um, I had a lot of times where I didn't have a chance to sit down to eat when my son was very little, like during those I'm spacing again. Witching hour. During the witching hour, it can be so, so hard. It's like dinner, but they also are like cluster feeding. It's like, oh my God. So yeah, sitting down is semi-optional when you're in this survival mode. But it does need to be substantial. It does need to have that protein. You aiming for some healthy fats, aiming for some fruits and veggies, that's going to keep you full longer. It's going to give you more of that energy back. Um, and then some other examples would be soup with toast or grilled cheese, leftovers. We love leftovers. Those are like king because they already have everything in them. All you have to do is heat it up. And then another really easy one would be breakfast for dinner. I'm thinking scrambled eggs. Super easy. You can add veggies, you can add some meat, like deli meat, things like that. Sometimes we'll do sausage. You can do a little bit of bacon, but you don't have to make it hard. Just whatever you've got on hand, it's going to be helpful. Boiled egg snack plates are perfect. I do that with my son still, where I just don't have the capacity to make dinner some days. He's two. He loves eating a chopped up boiled egg with some cheese, and I usually do like Triscuits or Ritz for him, and then some fruit. Like berries go a long way for him. And then if you don't have a whole day, but you do have a little bit of energy. So when you are going slightly from like that, I'm in absolute survival mode, can't think about anything, to all right, I've slept a little bit and I have a bit of time. Um, One thing to note is that meal prep doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to have an entire Sunday to do it. Sometimes you might have 10 minutes. You might have one hand free or part of a nap time where you have a few minutes just set aside for meal prepping. And so structure can help so much more than motivation here. Knowing exactly like, okay, I have 10 minutes. Here's what I can get done in that time. I've lined that out for you in the meal prep survival kit. I took all of the thought out of it. And if you have an hour, you can make two full meals and not have to think about it during the rest of the week. It doesn't have to be an entire Sunday. It can be an hour. That's it during a nap time. So it works if you have 10 minutes. I line out everything to do if you have 30 minutes. And then again, if you have an hour, you can make an entire two meals. And I have the recipes lined out. I have all the freezer tips lined out for you. And so I've just really done the work to take the thought out of it and make it really, really simple with the meal prep survival kit. That is what it is designed for, is that postpartum time period where even as you're easing back into things a little bit, getting out of survival mode, you just want food handled in a way that fits where you're at right now when you just don't have a full day like you might have before you had children to cook meals. And you probably, if your kids are a bit older, even if they're really little, you might be holding them while you're cooking. My son just learned the word up. And so if we're in the kitchen, he wants up. And he has like one of those stair towers, and that's only out if my kitchen counters are clean. So like maybe one night a week. Otherwise, he wants to be up in my arms so that he can see what I'm doing. But just feeding yourself is what matters here. You want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. This is a temporary state, the survival mode. However, while you're in it, you do need to make sure that there's something available. So, leaning into what I've lined out in this episode is going to be really, really helpful, I hope. If you can think of any other options, please send them my way and I'll add them to my list. But I hope this was helpful, and choose the easiest option for yourself today. That's enough. Thanks so much for joining in, and I will see you guys next week.